Good day, how we living, you feel me? Oh, my thing untied. So, honestly, I was just trying to find out and see if my camera was gonna work well and not do the whole in and out thing that like I've been doing. And I think we might have figured it out with this one, but I still kind of rock with that for certain ideas because sometimes you're not really seeing it all the way through, and that's why it has to be blurry. And so, today I am going over a note I wrote the other day when I was in an 11-hour car ride. And it was to the fact that healing is not linear. Healing is less of that and more of something else. So, healing isn't linear, and I think that we misunderstand this when we're working with ourselves or going to therapy and doing something for ourselves or working with a coach and sharing stuff with loved ones. And I think it's because we're under the impression that we can really like be healed and like, oh, it's over, like. And I think some of the times there's people that do promote it in that way, as if it's like, oh, you do it and then you're done. But the truth is that you're never really healed from anything. We just kind of learn how to live with what we've experienced and who we are, and from that we have an easier time because you learn how to accept. And acceptance is at the root of everything. It's at the root of healing. It's at the root of healing as far as grief. It's at the root of recovery. It's at the root of just moving forward and not being in a cycle of denial. And so, that said, let me see what I wrote down. Healing doesn't give you a shiny badge to say you're healed. It is just the acceptance and making it mean something better for yourself rather than being a burden, and it can become something that is light for you, right? Rather than letting it be an anchor that sinks you to the bottom of the pond and leaves you gasping for air and looking for light in the dark all the time, right? It can be something that uplifts you and can almost give you wings from that note. And so, from that mentioned, the emotional alchemy just helps us learn how to handle ourselves, others, and our lives in a way that helps us do better and hold more space for self love, making the best decisions for ourselves. And in that, that comprises of a couple different things like self respect, healthy self esteem, boundaries, communicating, not communicating, as well as just at the root of it is self love, right? And love as a whole. And don't confuse acts of self love as acts of selfishness in the way that you may think about it when it's someone outside of yourself. Um, People must act for themselves because you're not going to do it for them. So, for that reason, and those reasons, I believe that healing can't be linear because recovery has never been linear. Recovery in the process of things like you fall back, right? Like you fall back with your ex, you slip into your addictions further, you re-trigger your past traumatic stress, and it. If you were to say it's linear, it would deny those experiences that you have, and would be treating you as if you're just really starting over, but you're never really starting over. And I guess that's part of the reason why I never understood like the day one, day two, day three kind of things. Like I mean I get it, I understand it, I understand it, but it's like I'm not going to use that. And it's okay if someone else does, but it's just for myself it doesn't make sense because I don't know. When I break it down, it doesn't really work with my worldview. Um, and so if we are to move as if healing is linear, it denies our experiences that we have, it denies our different moments that we've had within time over space, or over time within space, right? So it doesn't really make sense for the way in which the body experiences because the body doesn't really know time. And the body doesn't really understand space either. The body is just the body, and it's experiencing and feeling everything and feeling certain things more than others and less. It's usually feeling everything at once, but it's a matter of our mind's perception of said body that is dictating whether or not we can determine or identify that, right? And normally it's because we identify that we reduce it, because we try to label in order to understand rather than just being with it. And so the body doesn't really have an understanding of time and space. Your mind does, because it's been conditioned in that way. And your mind is what treats your body in that sense. And then from that understanding or that perception of your reality, your body is working from your level of belief in that reality. And so, for example, that's not to say certain things like aging isn't real. But at the same time, it's like people age differently. Why? Because if you believe that you're going to have wrinkles or gray hairs by 20, of course you're going to have gray hairs or wrinkles. You believe that in your brain is going to make your body act as if and behave in a way in which confirms your biases and your beliefs about reality. That's hermeneutics. It's just the nature of reality and the way in which thoughts work. Thoughts manifest into reality. That's how it is. And your thoughts become your reality for that, right? And so, for that reason, healing can't really be linear. And I guess in that way, it would make more sense to say that healing is circular, right? Because we always run back, we trip over and we fall in the same places sometimes. And as we keep tripping and as we keep falling, we run over these lessons back and forth, 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 right? But we do that with new tools each time. And we learn how to better face those patterns and better face the things that happen in our lives. But then when you think about it in that way, doesn't the circle also fall short? Because you're just learning. How would you just be learning? Like, that's just saying, like, I'm going to keep, like, that's like saying I'm going to see this wall and I'm going to just keep running into it. I'm just going to keep running into it. I'm just going to keep running into it. Oh, I got a new helmet. I'm going to just keep running into it. Maybe it'll break. No, it doesn't make sense logically, like the statement. So if healing can't be linear and healing can't be circular, then, but can time be circular? That's a different video. But if healing can't be linear and healing can't be circular, then it comes down to where I'm at with the idea that for this video, which is that healing is neither, and that healing is spiral or spiral, however you say it. Healing looks more like this. Because healing has to be a spiral in which with every experience we're gaining a deeper understanding, a fuller understanding of the dynamics and the ways in which our experience are shaping us and have shaped others, as well as in the grand scheme of this, right? Because we're just a piece of the puzzle of the world, right? Just like, what's it called? John Donne, Meditation 17. I drew a painting about that for my human experience project in college. Why? Because like John Donne said, and like Pokemon, right? We are all just parts of an island in the archipelago of the exact same world, similar to Pokemon, right? These are all Pokemon from the Kanto region. Sure, you're a fire Pokemon. Sure, you're an electric Pokemon. Sure, you're a water Pokemon, and a normal, a dragon, and psychic, etc., right? But through all of that, you're all still united by the same kingdom and by the same world. And so, when I go back to that point, that it's just you learn in a spiral way, right? And it's of yourself and that piece of yourself amongst the world around you. We're gaining a fuller and deeper understanding, and through that understanding we build our sense of resilience, our wisdom, and we ever more just evolve, right? Through our experiences of life. And so when you approach it in that way, I guess healing really never could be linear, right? And it could never really be circular either. It always had to be a spiral. Because I guess the line the line and that linearness of it and the circular way of it really just mean that we're just going in a constant cycle of denial at times, as well as just avoiding the truth and not really going as deep as we could for many reasons, right? Maybe it's because of fear of the unknown, of going that far into the void of ourselves, and sometimes it's because of our inability of tools, right? Like maybe we just don't know how, which is honestly what it really is a lot of the times. Like we just don't know how to move past things, and we also don't know how to speak on things that are more existential and metaphysical in that sense. And also it's not necessarily welcomed. So yeah, that's what this is about. Healing is a spiral. It was never a circle or linear. But I understand if you think that. You dig. Have a good day, primo auto.